So let's get started. What I want to do is to talk about the idea of tax and dividend for all fossil inputs into the economy. And I want to illustrate the explanation of it using the simulation software Minsky. Now, first of all, we have to talk about how tax and dividend works. And to do that, I want to use the idea of a tale of two products. Now, we've got a cheap product, which is a bad product. That means it needs fossil fuel to be produced and or to run. And we've got an expensive product, which is a good product, which is fossil free. So the question is what can we do to make the expensive product relatively cheaper and the cheap product more relatively expensive so that the market sorts itself out? That's the theory of tax and dividend. So what you do is, and I'll use this Minsky here. So here's our bad product, and the price of it is equal to the production price and their margin, of course, and the energy cost. The energy cost will be the energy price, which is here, and added to that will be the energy price surcharge. So the idea would be to, at regular intervals, increase this surcharge so that the relative price of the bad product increases. At the same time, we'll take the value of the surcharge and pay it back to everyone equally as some kind of dividend. Now, what effects would that have? Well, first of all, the bad product would get more expensive the more you buy, because the bad product price would be the cost of buying it, plus the extra tax that's been added, because that will be passed on to the consumer, minus the dividend. The other thing about the effect is that the good product gets relatively cheaper because the good product price will be its market price minus the dividend you get in your pocket. So if you buy a relatively small part or number of these products, then obviously you've got a large dividend and it's relatively cheaper. Now, there's an equity aspect to this. If the richer buy more stuff, so they will pay relatively more for their consumption because they won't get so much back. Now, the poorer get relatively more dividend. So this is a way of the richer subsidizing the poorer for the poorer to be more ecological or to be more sustainable or to use less fossil fuels. Now, we need to do some simple assumptions to model this, and these assumptions that I have taken on are inanely simple. This is just because if we start with simple assumptions, we can refine our models later on. We might learn something from the first assumptions that we take. Anyway, I'm saying here that market volumes follow price, and I've added a simple algorithm there. So the higher the sales of the cheaper product, people buy more, and as prices rise, they will buy less. So that's a way of working out the size of the market. The other thing is that the rich continue to consume more per person regardless of price. we also assume people have to have either the good or the bad. So the overall market remains the same. And we assume that even if the product is more expensive than the original one, that poor people somehow find a way to find the money. Okay, so this is the wiring diagram for the Minsky. And I think the important things you can see on the right, the graphs, what we will look for is to see the volume of the dividend that will be coming as the surcharge to the energy input to production is increased. We'll have a look at the relative volumes of the two products. This is the bad product, and this is the good product here. The other thing that we want to look at is the relative price of the good product. And as you can see here, we've got the production price and the original energy price here. So this will be a baseline for the original price of the bad product. And this will be the relative price of the good product. Now, here we can, you can see we've got here this slider here. And this is the one that we want to play around with. The bad product starts off at 32. The good product here is 50. So let's make the good product, well, that's about right, I think. We'll start with that. So the good product is, say, 50%, a little bit more than the price of the bad product. And we'll start the simulation and we can stop it as we go along and see what happens. So let's start now. So what we're seeing happening is that the dividend is rising quite fast, as we can see, and the relative volumes are changing. So the here we've got the sales of the bad product are going down, and sales of the good product are going up. And at this point, we've already reached, thanks to the dividend, we've reached a point where the original price of the bad product, now the relative price of the good product is below that of the original. So we've done a good thing here. Tax and Dividend shows that you can get to a point where you can make good products cheaper, and the market will respond. Let's continue. So here we come to the plateauing effect. The relative volume of the good product has gone up, and the relative volume of the bad products has gone down. We're at 60-40 roughly. And as you can see, we're at a good point because the price of the good product is below that of the bad product. But we're at a point where the dividend is starting to plane out. Let's continue then. So as we see, the dividend amount of dividend is falling as the market prices or the relative volumes start to change, and that's bringing the price of the good product is actually coming back over the original price of the good product. And that's what we could say is we're at a point where we might be driving inflation, even though we've been successful. So let's just stop there. And let's start again, and let's see what would happen if the gap between good product and bad product is much larger. So the bad product was, say, 30. So let's make it 3 times. Let's make it up to about 90. Okay. So now the good product is 90, bad product is 32. Let's see what happens. Yeah, and as we can see, the same thing happens. The dividend starts to level out as relative volumes start to come close to each other. However, the difference here is that we haven't got down to the relative price of the good product is much higher than the original price of the bad product. So despite all of our best efforts, we're probably very close to driving inflation with this approach. And here the relative volumes start to cross. And again, at that point, the dividend falls off. But as you see, the relative price of the good product is now going up compared to the original price of the bad product, meaning that you've probably got a situation where you have inflation being driven unless you put in another kind of intervention.